Hi friends. Please close your eyes. Quick recap. Brother, define family. We had begun with family and kinship. Please define family. Yes? Not you, your neighbor. Not you. You were absent? Okay, then you. Yes. By common residence, economic, cooperation and reproduction. Wonderful. Family is a social group characterized by common residence, economic cooperation and reproduction. Continue with that definition. Yes, brother. It involves adults of both sexes. Wonderful. At least two of them maintain a socially approved sexual relationship and one or more children, own or adopted of the sexually cohabiting adults. Wonderful. And brother, this definition was given by, yes, you, by, ठीक बोल रहे हो? G.P. Murdoch. Very good. Spell Murdoch. M-U-R-D-O-C-K. Wonderful. Then we discuss the functional theory of the family. What are the functions of the family? Sexual, reproductive, economical नहीं. Economical होता है सस्ता या affordable. Economic. And educational function according to G.P. Murdoch. And क्या नाम है तुम्हारा? Parsons. He talked about the two basic and irreducible functions that the family continues to perform in the modern industrial society. What are those? Hanji me. Primary socialization of children and stabilization of adult personalities. Wonderful. Then we discussed various dysfunctional views of the family. Yes? Such as?
That too much pressure, like the family can also create psychological issues.
Says who? अधूरे ज्ञान से काम नहीं चलेगा बिटिया. Yes. Yes. Vogel and Bell. Bilkul. What do they say?
They say that the child in a family can be used as a scapegoat.
Absolutely. Bilkul. So in situations of parental conflict, the child is often made an emotional scapegoat, which is dysfunctional, harmful psychologically for the child. Wonderful. And then what else we discussed, Bitia? Edmund Leach. Yes. Criticize the nuclear family in modern society. How, brother? नहीं, आपसे पूछा ही नहीं बेटे. Yes. हाँ. How does Leach criticize the nuclear family? He compares it to an overloaded electrical circuit. Meaning what? Yes, there are heightened expectations in the nuclear family which can never be fulfilled, resulting in conflict. और बताइए brother. RD laying compared family to gangsters, saying what?
Keeping expectations on individual.
Hmm.
They are not giving importance to the individual.
Okay. But you're missing the main point, brother. Family members provide mutual protection to each other against each other's violence. Bilkul. Absolutely. That is the crux of his argument. Wonderful. Then, brother, what else? Raise your hand. Yes. Ha. So tell me, what other view we discussed? Another dysfunctional view of the family? David Cooper. The interiorization of family leads to a murder of the individual. So in order to free the individual, the family needs to be killed. ठीक? हाँ, bringing up a child is bringing down a person. बिल्कुल. What is the name of Cooper's book? Brother will tell. The death of the family or politics of the family? The death of the family. So who wrote the politics of the family and other essays? R.D. Leach. ये नया बनाया इन्होंने? नहीं, you're confusing two guys. R.D. Lang है और Edmund Leach है. Choose करो. Lang. और लीच की किताब का क्या नाम था? Yes? नहीं लिखवाया तो ठीक है, नहीं लिखवाया फिर छोड़ो. रन अवे वर्ल्ड था वैसे उसकी, बट ठीक है, इट्स नॉट लाइक टू मटीरियल, यू कैन स्किप इट इफ यू चूज. अच्छा, Chandrayaan 3 has safely landed, so congratulations we are receiving. चलो तालियां, वेरी गुड. चलिए, now moving on to which perspective of the family? हाँ जी, बिल्कुल, the Marxist perspective of the family. The first, Karl Marx himself wrote very little on the family. ठीक है? But a very detailed analysis of family from a Marxist perspective was outlined by his jigri, Friedrich Engels, in his book titled The Origin of the Family, Private Property and the State. That's the title of Engels' book, The Origin of the Family, Private Property and the State. ठीक है? Because of me now? The Origin of the Family, Private Property and the State. That's Engels' book. In which, what is his contention? First, हम सुनेंगे, then I'll dictate. Otherwise, you guys won't listen. So, his argument is, what he basically says, that in the earliest stages of human social organization, okay, when we were living in these primitive communist hordes, there was no family. There was no notion or concept of family. In other words, basically society was characterized by sexual promiscuity. By sexual promiscuity, meaning that there were no restrictions on people's sexual behavior. Anyone could freely practice or establish sexual relations with any other member of the community. ठीक? Now, as society advanced, meaning, what do you mean by advancement of society? Advancement of production technology. So as technology evolved, surplus started getting generated, and then arose the concept of private property. Once surplus started getting generated, then the notion of private property emerged. कि ये जो बचा हुआ है ये किसका है, मेरा या तेरा. And once this notion of private property emerged, then family emerged. Why family emerged? Because people wanted to be sure that their heirs are their own children. Simply in a situation of sexual promiscuity, or when anyone can have sex freely with anybody else without any restrictions. If any children are born to a woman, no man can be sure that these are his genetic or biological children, right? So, increasingly restrictions were put on the sexual behavior of people to regulate it, culminating in the monogamous marriage. One man, one woman. Okay? Because now, any child born to that woman is surely that of her husband. So, who is this child? It's not just a child. He is the higher. Higher matlab varis of that man's property. Are you with me? So basically men wanted to ensure that their heirs are their own children without any question of their paternity. And that is why restrictions were put on to regulate sexual behavior, resulting in the emergence of monogamous marriage. ठीक है? So marriage क्यों emerge हुई? क्योंकि private property emerge हुई. And once these restrictions were articulated, they were formalized by the state. So through laws, the government would make it the legal framework for transmission of property and regulating sex and marriage, so that property can be properly transmitted. Clear? यही बात है. लिखो. With the emergence of private property, the family arose. Full stop. Increasing restrictions were put to regulate the sexual behavior एक बार में सुना करो. Increasing restrictions were put to regulate the sexual behavior of people culminating in, same sentence, culminating in the development of the monogamous marriage. Full stop. Monogamous marriage. Full stop. This was done to ensure that property was passed down to children of undisputed paternity. ठीक, full stop. These restrictions on sexual behavior, were sanctified, sanctified, sanctified and formalized by the state in the form of laws. This is what Engels wrote in his book, a very brief peek into Engels' rather detailed work. The Marxist view of the family, thank you, was further developed in the 20th century, around mid 20th century, by various feminist scholars. Okay? ब्रीफ में लिख लेना, मैं बोल रहा हूं एक एक चीज, मैं डिक्टेट नहीं कर रहा. आई एम जस्ट सेइंग दैट दिस मार्क्सिस्ट फ्रेमवर्क वाज आल्सो लेटर यूज्ड बाय फेमिनिस्ट स्कॉलर्स to analyze the working class family, in about mid 20th century. And these feminists who apply the Marxist framework are known as Marxist feminists. ठीक, फेमिनिस्ट भी अलग अलग प्रकार के होते हैं. जो फेमिनिस्ट मार्क्सिस्ट फ्रेमवर्क को इस्तेमाल करते हैं उन्हें हम बोलेंगे मार्क्सिस्ट फेमिनिस्ट. So Marxist feminists have applied the Marxist framework to analyze the working class family in modern capitalist society. Okay? आप लगाओ Marxist framework logically and tell me, from a Marxist perspective, friends, the family is a part of the superstructure. Family is a part of the superstructure. So what does it do? What effect does the superstructure have? Sorry? Absolutely. It helps to maintain the status quo. Yes or no? And it promotes and secures the class interests of who? The working class family. Secures the class interests of the haves. Yani the bourgeois, the capitalists. But isn't that counterintuitive? Why should the working class family serve the class interests of the capitalists, not the working class? Intuitively तो यही लगेगा कि the working class family should support the class interests of the working class. So how do these Marxist feminists see the working class family as supporting the class interests of the capitalists? Let us try to appreciate. Simply put, it benefits who? The capitalists. The working class family benefits or serves the class interests of the bourgeois or the capitalists. How does it do that? One basic thing What do capitalists require? Continuous supply of labor power. Who provides that? The working class families. They ensure reproduction of labor power. Scholars like Angela Davis have highlighted how working class families ensure an uninterrupted supply of new workers to serve the capitalist system. How? Through reproduction. तो जब किसी वर्किंग क्लास फैमिली में बच्चा पैदा होता है तो कैपिटलिस्ट के यहां मिठाई बंटती है कि वर्कर पैदा हुआ है, लड़का या लड़की नहीं हुआ है, क्या हुआ है? वर्कर पैदा हुआ है. ठीक है ना? Another way in which the working class families serve the class interests of the capitalists. Families serve as a very effective ideological conditioning device in an exploitative society. Scholars like Diana Feely and कूपर. कौन सा कूपर? डेविड कूपर, वही हमारा बावले वाला. Scholars like Diane Feely and David Cooper suggest that the family serves as an ideological conditioning device in an exploitative society. Meaning what? Basically, it encourages certain personality traits in the children which serve the interests of the capitalist system. Personality traits like obedience, hard work, submission to authority. Yes or no? A non-questioning attitude. Are you with me? Respect for authority figures. To obey orders without a murmur, without question. तुम लोग सोच रहे हो ये तो बैकग्राउंड म्यूजिक है, वो लिख लें, है ना? But you get the picture? Simply we are trained to submit to authority figures. Till date, friends, now I'm in my mid-40s. When I get a call from my father, I literally stand up if I'm sitting somewhere. You know, he may be like miles away. And I would stand up and say, Ji Papa, Hanji Papa, Hanji Papa. You know, that is how families train us. And when then you go to the workplace, you carry the same attitude. And G Papa is replaced by G Boss. G Boss. Yes, sir. Yes or no? Families teach you to be submissive, to not question and do as you are told. If you question in the family, क्या होता है? Yes or no? कि shut up. You are told to shut up and do as you are told. And the क्या नाम है तुम्हारा? Capitalists. They benefit from these obedient, submissive kind of a workforce. Yes or no? The capitalist system thrives on a submissive and obedient workforce. वर्किंग क्लास मदर क्या करती है जब बच्चे की नौकरी लगती है? सेलिब्रेट करती है, मिठाइयां बांटती है, टीका लगाती है कि बेटा जा, डू वेल इन योर जॉब, है ना, मालिक का सारा काम करियो. कभी वो बताती है दैट ही इज योर क्लास एनिमी एंड उसका सर उसके धड़ से अलग कर दो? नो. ठीक है. सो दे इनकलकेट or teach what? Work hard. Very nicely one of you had suggested. And when you work hard, who benefits? The capitalist. ठीक? What is your hard work or what is your ability? It is in terms of being able to generate surplus for the capitalist. ठीक. The working class family also greatly reduces the bargaining power of the proletariat vis-a-vis the capitalists. Scholars like Margaret Benston have written extensively on this. Sorry? तो मैं कहां जाऊं? नाउ या बॉटल. नहीं. ठीक है. मीनिंग व्हाट? Please appreciate. Have you written? Basically, the adult male worker is burdened with the social and moral responsibility of providing for the family. Yes or no? Because of which, even if he is being exploited, even if he is being shortchanged in the capitalist system, he cannot afford to withdraw his labor power from the labor market. He is compelled to sell his labor because he has a family to look after. Yes or no? Simply put, if I am the Punjipati, the capitalist, you guys are the workers, right? And of course, what is my nature? That I am oppressive and exploitative, right? What will you do? Can you stop coming to work tomorrow? No, you can't. खुद की बात होती तो फिर भी पेट पे कपड़ा बांध के सो जाते, बट घर पे पुष्पा है, मुन्नी है, मुन्ना है. यस और नो? जिनका पालन पोषण आपकी जिम्मेवारी है. सो यू मस्ट कम टू वर्क एंड इट बेनिफिट्स हू? द कैपिटलिस्ट. ठीक. Simply because he has a family to support, the worker cannot afford to withdraw his labor from the labor force. ठीक. He is socially and morally obligated to provide for his family. May I? Benston also points out, friends, that by paying the wage of one person, the capitalist is able to draw the labor power of two persons. How? Simply because the capitalist pays the male worker and the worker's wife performs a lot of labor at home. A lot of unpaid work is done by women inside homes. Are you with me? For which they are paid how much? Zero. At no cost to the capitalist. Please appreciate. Imagine if women were not doing this labor. Women क्या करती है? कपड़े धोती है अपने पति के. अगर वो नहीं धोती, वो खुद धोता. So that many hours or that much, those many minutes, he would not have generated surplus. For who? The capitalist. I would be poorer. The capitalist would be poorer. Okay? Or reduced profits. वो उसके लिए खाना बनाती है. अगर नहीं बनाती तो वो खुद बनाता. तो किसके लिए लेस प्रॉफिट जनरेट कर पाता? मेरे लिए. बच्चे पालती है दोनों के, आधा ही पालती, बाकी आधा टाइम वर्कर, मेल वर्कर करता. तो किसके टाइम में से एवरी मिनट और आवर दैट द वर्कर डज नॉट generate profit for the capitalist, from a Marxist perspective, he is robbing the capitalist. In the Marxist framework, from the perspective of the capitalist. Are you with me? जब तुम मेरे लिए काम नहीं कर रहे हो, प्रॉफिट या सरप्लस नहीं जनरेट कर रहे हो, तो मेरा नुकसान हो रहा है. तो मैं एक इंसान की तनख्वाह देता हूं और दो लोगों की मजदूरी पाता हूं. Are you with me? लिखो. Margaret Benston suggests that in the capitalist system, paying one wage the capitalist is able to buy the labor power of two people. Full stop. Women perform very large amounts of unpaid labor inside the home, which is very profitable. For who? The capitalist. ठीक. Another dimension, Marxist interpretation. See, capitalism is a very exploitative system. Because of the, continuously being a part of this exploitative system, it generates a lot of, क्या नाम है तुम्हारा, frustration and anger in the working class. Right? Now that anger and frustration of the workers can be a potential source of instability for the system. But the family provides a very safe avenue for dispersing this frustration and anger generated by the capitalist system. Simply, all men, including working class men, they enjoy a petty dictatorship of sorts over their wives and children, or in the realm of the family. Are you with me? So all their anger, frustration, etc. gets expressed within the domain of the family. Are you with me? For instance, if I am a working class man in this capitalist economy, what is the system and the Malik doing to me? Exploiting me, oppressing me, khun choosing me. Yeah? Because of which I am perpetually frustrated and angry. तो क्या करूंगा मैं? बॉस का सर धड़ से अलग कर दूंगा? नो. बॉस मुझे गाली देगा, बॉस मेरा खून चूसेगा. बॉस मतलब द कैपिटलिस्ट, राइट? फिर मैं क्या करूंगा? शाम को गाली सुन के थक हार के घर जाऊंगा. एंड घर जाके एक हुंकार लगाऊंगा, बीवे इधर आओ, ये सोनो, जूते इधर उधर फेंकूंगा. बच्चे ही कर रहे होंगे तो दो चार उनको लगाऊंगा. आर यू विद मी? So all my frustration and anger gets directed at this family over which I lord over. तो मेरे को क्या आता है? किक आती है, नो, अपन भी कुछ है, राइट? एंड फिर नेक्स्ट डे उठ के फिर चले जाऊंगा, जी बॉस जी बॉस जी बॉस, गाली खाने. फिर आऊंगा शाम को गाली खा के, फिर यहां पे भड़ास निकालूंगा, फिर तैयार नेक्स्ट डे के लिए. आर यू विद मी? सो बेसिकली द सिस्टम इज नॉट destabilized, द सिस्टम इज नॉट threatened. So, you know, Fran Ansley, she says because women perform their conventional role as the takers of shit. Fran Ansley, F-R-A-N, that's her first name, Ansley, A-N-S-L-E-Y. Because women perform their role as the takers of shit, the capitalist bosses sleep more secure. वो चैन की नींद सोता है क्योंकि वर्कर की बीवी है ना उसकी फटकार खाने को. ठीक? In other words, working class families absorb the anger and frustration generated amongst working class men because of their exploitation in the capitalist system. The families of the workers absorb the anger and frustration generated as a result of the exploitation of the workers in the capitalist system. ठीक? That is how the system is stabilized. Now, friends, just to be sure, that is the Marxist understanding of, the Marxist feminist understanding of family, critique of the working class family. Moving on to the feminist views of family, I'll just give you a brief overview. There are three broad streams of feminist thought. Okay? Feminists come in all shapes and sizes. So, three broad categories would be, one is liberal feminism. The second is Marxist feminism, what we just discussed. And the third is radical feminism. लिबरल, मार्क्सिस्ट और रैडिकल फेमिनिज्म. उसके अलावा भी वेरिएंट्स होते हैं. एक स्कूल ऑफ इंटरसेक्शनैलिटी है, एक लेस्बियन फेमिनिज्म भी होता है, बहुत सारे होते हैं, ठीक है. नाउ तीनों में ब्रॉड अंतर क्या है? What is the broad distinction between these three? All of them are critical of patriarchy or male dominance in society, right? All of them seek to create a more egalitarian, gender equal kind of a social world. Difference is, क्या नाम है तुम्हारा? Liberal feminists. Liberal feminists, they do not junk the whole system or the present society. They seek incremental improvements in the position of women in the existing society. Piecemeal, gradual, incremental changes or improvements in the position of women in the society as it exists. ठीक है? That would be liberal feminism. Marxist feminism is what we just touched upon, basically identifying capitalism as the root cause for the subordination of women. So they emphasize upon economic factors. Yes? To analyze patriarchy. I repeat, Marxist feminists view capitalism as the root of problems of women in modern capitalist society. ठीक है? Radical feminists, in stark contrast to liberal feminists, they propose, as the term suggests, radical change. मतलब a complete overhaul of the prevailing social relations. पूरी सामाजिक व्यवस्था को पलट के रख देना है, according to radical feminists. लिबरल फेमिनिस्ट कहेंगे नहीं, सामाजिक व्यवस्था में कुछ चेंजेस करने की जरूरत है. ठीक है? क्लियर? चलिए, सो वीव डिस्कस मार्क्सिस्ट फेमिनिस्ट, क्या नाम है तुम्हारा, व्यू ऑफ द फैमिली और क्रिटिक ऑफ द फैमिली. नाउ डिस्कसिंग the liberal feminist critique of the family. See, there will be overlaps in their critiques also. Huh? Because a lot of things these guys would also say and these guys would also say. Sorry, you want to leave? Please, please. Huh? And in case you need any medication, you can request them at the counter. Huh? They'll help you. Talking about liberal feminist critique of the family. So liberal feminists criticize the family on various grounds, including that the family encourages certain personality traits in the children which align with the conventional gender roles. Scholars like Anne Oakley point out how the family system encourages those personality traits in the children which align with the traditional gender roles. Yes, we are for now focusing on child rearing. Simply put, friends, at birth, okay, when we are born, the child is very raw. Are you with me? There are sex differences between male babies and female babies, no doubt. So their genitalia or their anatomy will be different. Are you with me? But then they are also raised differently by families so as to inculcate certain personality traits which are associated with their gender. Simply, there's a difference between sex and gender. Right? Sex is biological. Gender is a social construct. There is this, it is often said, please write down, that one is that you are born a female. You are born a female, but made into a woman. Made into a woman. See, male, female, pulling and striling. These are based on differences in anatomy. Right? So pulling and striling, and it exists across species. So in ants you have a male ant and a female ant. In bees you have a male bee, a female bee, a male lion, a female lion, a male parrot, a female parrot, and a male human being and a female human being. Yes or no? Based on the genitalia or the physical body parts that people have, they can be classified into two sexes. But man and woman, these are societal constructs. Who is a man? Man is that male or is a male who possesses masculine traits. Woman is a female who possesses feminine traits. So those traits are inculcated by the society. Are you with me? In other words, in families, we raise our boys and girls differently. Boys are raised to inculcate in them those personality traits which are considered as masculine. For example, boys are raised to be aggressive, dominating, assertive, even violent. While girls are raised to be submissive, passive, chui-mui, delicate, weak, dependent. Yes or no? So, male children and female children are socialized differently. So that they conform to the gender stereotypes. For example, I have two children who are girls. Can you guess which toys they play with? Dolls or kitchen sets? Absolutely. Absolutely. So these are, 20 years from now usko kitchen संभालना है. So at the age of 5 and 3, we are raising girls to play with kitchen sets. 20 years बाद उसको बच्चे पालने हैं. So she is at this age playing with dolls and whatever, babies. Are you with me? And had they been boys, would they have played with these toys? Had they played with these toys, they would have been set straight. कि क्या लड़कियों वाले खेल खेल रहा है? Yes or no? which games or toys would they have then played with? Cars and guns. Yes or no? And outdoors and everything. So that is how one of the many ways in which children are socialized into gender specific stereotypes. ठीक? Then of course a lot of such gender based socialization is also through example, through observation, simply by observing adults in the family. So my daughters, they are seeing who looks after cooking, the kitchen and household chores. The mother. And who brings home the bacon? The father. तो वो क्या सीख रही हैं कि पापा बाहर जाके पैसे कमा के लाते हैं और माँ घर बच्चे संभालती है. Yes or no? So that is how the family socializes children into the conventional gender stereotypes. Clear? Anne Oakley also developed a very detailed critique of the mother housewife role that women perform. Friends, the mother housewife role has emerged as one of the primary roles for adult women. Okay? And how is it to be a housewife? How is it? Yeah? I'm sure many of you would have your mothers as housewives in this mother housewife role. How is it? Sorry? Pathetic. And why? So she is overburdened with domestic chores. और बोलिए अपनी माँ के लिए तो आवाज उठाइए. She is dominated by father only and male children also. Yes, she is, I know. I've peeked into your family. Yes. There is no remuneration. There is a lack of insane decision making. Absolutely, always dependent on the family members. Not able to pursue her career or her passions. नो हॉलिडे. माँ की छुट्टी होती है कभी? नहीं. माँ कभी, एक जया बच्चन का वो आया था प्ले, माँ कभी रिटायर नहीं होती. यस. एब्सोल्युटली. सो बड़ी हिचकी हिचकी सी रहती है माँ, है ना, बड़ी सिमटी हुई सी रहती है माँ. यस. बेटी, she loses her identity. Her identity merges in that of her husband and her kids. Absolutely. है कौन है आप? मैं मिसेस अग्रवाल हूं. तो मैं जो कविता थी, मैं जो रीटा थी, वो तो कहीं खोई गई, है ना. बिल्कुल. ब्रदर, it's worse if she's a working woman. Why? And he's absolutely right there. Why? Absolutely, because even if she is a working woman, she is still burdened with the mother housewife role. सिंपल बात है, आप आईएएस बन गई, बच्चे पालोगी या नहीं? आपके बच्चे कौन पालेगा? आप ही पालोगी. Otherwise you will be a bad mother. Are you with me? So this mother housewife role is very sticky. It sticks. बन जाओ आईएएस, बन जाओ आईपीएस, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. भारतीय नारी, तुम्हारी पहली पहचान क्या है? कि तुम एक मां हो, तुम एक पत्नी हो. यस और नो? यस ब्रदर. अच्छा, वो ऐसी थोड़ा, हाँ, Financially, she is dependent on the husband. Yes. Not appreciated by the members of the family. बिल्कुल एन ओकली से ज्यादा विस्तारित क्रिटिक तो आप लोगों ने डेवलप कर दिया इधर, है ना, हमने टुगेदर हमने कर दिया. बट एब्सोल्युटली एन ओकली इज वेरी क्रिटिकल ऑफ द मदर हाउसवाइफ रोल इन विच मॉडर्न विमेन फाइंड देमसेल्व्स ट्रैप्ड इन. In this role, she works for long hours without pay, without any chances of promotion. It involves a daily routine, performing boring, monotonous tasks in complete isolation. मेल वर्कर फैक्ट्री जाता है, 10 वर्करों से तो मिलता है, और यहां मैं अकेले घर में पिसती रहती हूं. इट इज वेरी एलियनेटिंग. विदाउट पे, विदाउट डिग्निटी. In fact, so much so it is considered as non-work. It is not even regarded as work. आप इंडिया में किसी हाउसवाइफ से पूछ लो आप क्या करते हो, वो खुद बोलेंगे मैं कुछ नहीं करती. यस और नो? पति से पूछ लोगे कुछ नहीं करती, घर पे खाली बैठी रहती है. ठीक है ना? सो फार मोर एलिनेटिंग, फार मोर एक्सप्लॉइटेटिव देन what the male worker goes through in the capitalist system is the treatment of the woman inside the family. Clear? Jesse Bernard. Jesse कोई नहीं फेम. Jessie Bernard. She analyzes marriage. Marriage कैसी होती है? Before Bernard, friends, there were several male scholars who had analyzed marriage and written in very glowing terms about the institution of marriage. Stability, sex, सब कुछ तो मिलता है एक छत के नीचे. ठीक है? So marriage is like pretty awesome. Bernard makes an interesting point. She says that in every marriage, there are actually 2 marriages. In every marriage, there are 2 marriages. The man's marriage and the woman's marriage. And the 2 are quite different from each other. The man's marriage and the woman's marriage. And she actually conducted a detailed study and concluded what? That married men live longer, healthier, and overall more successful lives than unmarried men. married men live longer, healthier, and more successful lives than unmarried men. While married women were more prone to sickness, anxiety, feelings of inadequacy, and unhappiness compared to unmarried women. Long story short, men are net beneficiaries of marriage. Men benefit from marriage. While women are net losers in marriage. ठीक है? आप भी एनेक्डोटल लेवल पे अपने लेवल पे एक्सपेरिमेंट करके देखना. आस्क अ कपल, ठीक है, अबाउट द मैरिड लाइफ. मैन विल से हाँ सब बढ़िया चल रहा है एंड ऑल, यू नो, घर जाता हूँ गर्म खाना मिल जाता है एंड एवरीथिंग. हाँ, औरत से पूछना कहेगी जी जान खा ली इस आदमी ने, यू नो, खून चूस दिया मेरा. सो अ मैन्स व्यू ऑफ मैरिज एंड द वुमन्स व्यू ऑफ द सेम मैरिज कैन बी वेरी डिफरेंट फ्रॉम ईच अदर. ठीक है. Now let us appreciate some radical feminist views of family and marriage. Scholars like Susan Brown Miller, Carol Hanist, Shulamit Firestone, क्या हुआ? कैरल हनीस्ट, CAROL HANISCH, Susan Brown Miller. Susan is Susan, Brown Miller is BROWNMILLER. ठीक है. Quite like liberal feminists, they also criticize the family for socializing its young and old members alike into the patriarchal ideology. The family socializes its members into the patriarchal ideology. Please appreciate, friends. Patriarchy क्या है? Patriarchy meaning roughly male dominance, right? It's a system which is in place in society. It is also a mode of thought. It's a way of thinking that men are superior to women, somehow should be privileged over women. Yes or no? Or men deserve more than women. That line of thought is patriarchal. Now please tell me, are only men patriarchal? Or in other words, do only men think that men are superior to women? No. No. Many women do. In a patriarchal society, many women have been conditioned by the patriarchal ideology. They have accepted the premise of patriarchy. Yes or no? For example, in India, we have a male child preference. Yes or no? A son preference. Who puts pressure on the couple? Sasu Ma. Not Sasurji. Yes or no? At least he appears very indifferent reading his akhbar. But it's the Sasu Ma who actively pressures the Bahu to give birth to a male child. So women, as much as men, likewise feminism, friends, is it that women are feminists and men are not? It is not. Some women are feminists and some men are feminists. Most members of the society, including both men and women, would be of a patriarchal mindset. Are you with me? And the family plays a very important role in perpetuating, spreading the patriarchal mindset. Other social institutions also play a role, but so does the family. ठीक? Women are burdened exclusively with the responsibility of childbearing and child rearing. बच्चे किसको पैदा करने पड़ते हैं? विमेन को करने पड़ते हैं. यस और नो? किसको पालने पड़ते हैं? विमेन को. किसको नर्स करने पड़ते हैं? विमेन को. केवल विमेन को. And this burden is placed on women by who? Family. Many of you thinking it's nature. You know? We'll discuss that later as we proceed. But it seems to be it's like a natural thing, right? Women have the body, the anatomy necessary for reproduction. So the radical feminists would challenge human anatomy. That to liberate women, we need to have alternative reproduction systems. Patriarchy is expressed in its most naked and raw form within the institution of family. In the form of domestic violence. The most brutal, raw, unmasked kind of, without pretense kind of expression of male domination is in the form of violence against women. A lot of which is committed where? In the family. Is domestic abuse or violence, is it commonplace or is it rare? Is it common or is it rare? In our society only. And which strata, which segment of the population you would expect to be engaged in domestic abuse? Lower class, middle class, upper class. There's a very popular mindset that it is mostly a lower caste phenomena. कि गरीब आदमी रिक्शे वाला जब आता है वो दारू पी के और फिर वो अपनी बीवी को पीटता है. यस और नो? दैट इज मोस्टली अ वर्किंग क्लास फिनोमेना. बट इज इट रियली ट्रू? It is very rampant, friends, across classes, including in many middle and upper middle class homes like yours and mine. Very common. More common than we would be, willing to admit. With the show of hands, please tell me how many of you. And I would say we represent the educated, urban, middle and upper middle class stratum of the society, right? Most of us. How many of you personally know people who have been, either victims of domestic abuse or perpetrators of it? Okay? First hand, please raise your hands. It is that common, right? As per National Family Health Survey, the 5th, recently the 5th NFHS survey was conducted, National Family Health Survey. Almost 30%, 30, of all respondents, all women respondents, had experienced spousal violence. Okay, so every third woman literally is a victim of domestic abuse. And it's not a class phenomena कि lower class में ही होता है. हम लोग middle class वाले छुपाते बहुत हैं, but होता भी बहुत है. ठीक है? And it also happens in the rich, privileged, elites, in those social groups. Preeti Zinta. Yeah, she was like a person in her own right in every which way. Sorry? Yes, her boyfriend, Wadia fellow, he used to abuse her. Neetu Kapoor, Rishi Kapoor's wife, she had once gone to the police station to file a complaint of domestic violence. Sorry? Which one? Yuktamukhi also. Yeah. Many such instances are there. Many. Care. So that is that. No, don't name persons. Don't name persons. These I do for you to connect to quickly. But you don't mention persons. ठीक है. You mention data. NFHS report, UN reports and so on. That carries far more weight to make your argument. ठीक है. चलिए. So do we take a break now or later? Now. ठीक है. We are done with various views on the family, functional, dysfunctional, Marxist and feminists of all shades. Please settle down. So we've discussed various theories of family, right? Diverse perspectives, appreciative, critical, mega critical, all sorts. Moving on to discussing contemporary trends in marriage and family. Contemporary trends in marriage and family. So what are the new things happening in this realm of marriage and family? Contemporary matlab in today's times, what is happening in the realm of family and marriage? Tell me, friends, do you see any new developments in the realm of marriage and family around you? I'm not even talking, though we'll be discussing when we write primarily about developments in the Western world, but many of those we can also see in our society. Brother, violence against men. Violence हुआ था जॉनी डेप के साथ? या अच्छा, ठीक है. ठीक है. बेटी, sologamy. This new bavlapan called sologamy. Yes. Guys, सुनो ना. हाँ. As in? Okay, the division of labor between men and women within the family is not so rigidly patriarchal and stereotypical in contemporary times. Huh? Yes? Some sensitization on the issue of gender roles. Elaborate on that. Relinquished some of their control and power. Why do you say that? That men have relinquished some of their control and power over women? On what basis? What changes have you seen? So modern education for both men and women has inculcated a new way of thinking, non-patriarchal, with notions of equality, etc. So because now women are gainfully employed outside the home. Beti? Okay, so you have like closer home examples like Aishwarya Rai Bachchan, और भी हैं ऐसे. Shabana Azmi remained in Azmi. But then again, if you are not taking up the name of your husband, you are being known by the name of your father. Another father figure, literally. Offices have crèches, etc. In the pious sphere of marriage,
When the marriage is taking place, even women priests are also now,
women priests are there.
In one of the, I think one of the actors, she actually called upon a women priest and a male one.
I also attended totally one marriage in life where the officiating priest was a woman. Ji? Okay, brother? Nuclear are getting transformed into joint. And why is that happening? That's like counterintuitive.
Sir, especially in the case of
So they are calling parents, aging parents from the village or something. Huh? Ha, interesting. Brother? Yes? Live in relationships. Marriage is becoming less important as more and, or at least some people are opting for live in relationships. आप बोलो वरना आप वहां बोलोगे. Surrogacy हो रही है in reproduction. Child marriage incidence has reduced and the age of marriage has, on an average, risen. जलाते नहीं अब, फॉर एग्जाम्पल, है ना. ठीक है. यस. Is that happening? She is suggesting that men are, conventionally it is the woman who would leave the father's home and move into the house of the husband's father. But she is suggesting now, ulta trend ho raha hai that lot of times men leave their natal homes or the homes in which they have been born and go and reside with the wife's family. Parents of the girl are also sometimes coming and staying with the couple. Guys, suno. Yes. That is the conventionally presumed direction, that joint families are being replaced by nuclear families. Sorry? The wedding function, fewer people are attending. Okay. That's not so in India, is it? Maybe during COVID and post-COVID एक बहाना ही मिल गया लोगों को छोटी marriages and कम खर्चे करने का. हाँ. Yes, brother? Very importantly, increasing rates of divorce and separation. And why is that happening? Yeah? Including these women. है ना? हाँ. Brother? Sorry? Support of legal system. Absolutely, a lot of pro-women laws are there. Some would contend even anti-men laws are there. Ji beti. The concept of not getting married is also rising. In India, do you see people not getting married? See, in that, in our extended family, there's always, it's been since ages, you have this lone chacha or bua who's like never got married, right? But is it becoming like more common than that? Or getting married at a later age? Bilkul. What age what do you consider late age? 30-ish. Ha, brother? Growing trend of foreign marriages. मतलब marriage with foreigners या marriage in like क्या बोलते हैं उसको वो destination weddings. Punjab. Green card marriage is what we call. Huh? Huh. Now, basically, to procure a green card or citizenship, they would like. हाँ तो ठीक है, अनएजुकेटेड क्यों नहीं जा सकते कनाडा? ठीक है. यस. लीगल बैकिंग मतलब प्रो विमेन लॉज ना. हाँ, दीज आर प्रॉब्लमैटिक. ठीक है बेटी. Choosing not to have children. And why is that? Aren't they like beautiful, cute little puppies? Huh? Expenditure. बच्चे खर्चा होते हैं. बिल्कुल. Yes. Concept of love marriage finding its place. Yes, in Indian society, by and by, it is finding its place. बेटी? divorces and remarriages are getting popular even for women. ठीक है, brother. Dowry is still, so that's not a change. We're talking about changes or contemporary trends. So he's like, possibly you're suggesting that's a change you would like to see. But that's not happening in society. It hasn't. Is dowry more prevalent today or less than earlier? In magnitude and in, frequency and everything. More. And how many men here will take dowry? But none of them will raise their hands. See, that is the beauty of our hypocrisy. Sorry, Acha, you were raising your hand for dowry? Yes.
They are not directly taking the dowry, but they want the girl to stay, and they will direct the girl into their family. They will not allow her to have a what do we say? Dominance over her. मतलब खुद नहीं रख सकती है, अपनी family को नहीं दे सकती है. Control over that.
So डायरेक्ट डाउरी नहीं मांगोगे तो बीवी की कमाई वो लोगे, वर्किंग वाइफ. ब्रदर, increasing use of technology in finding marriage mates, like technology like shadi.com, jeevansathi.com, Tinder also. I don't know if that works for marriage partners. Unlikely, It also reinforces the stereotypes. Absolutely. So you have shadi.com, the first thing they'll ask you is caste. And then based on caste they will segregate. Acha, ye Banya matches, Jain matches, and so on and so forth. Brother? Reversed. Do we have house husbands? How many of you personally know house husbands? Quite a number, yeah. I didn't expect. I don't know any. No, work from home is different. If you're considering that as house husbands. Sorry? Which is different from what the term house husband would suggest. Okay. Yeah, raise your hand and speak, please. New trend of marrying a rich husband. Where have you been? Sorry? Be a bit louder, please. ठीक है. But welcome to dunya. This is how it has been for a while. Yeah. Breathing space. हाँ बिल्कुल. A lot of men seek working women to have their own space and stability in marriage. Adopted children are becoming common. Yeah, why is that? Low fertility rate. ठीक है. चलिए. Thank you. Let us now look at some of these changes and what I'll be discussing. Many things that you guys have touched upon, but primarily in the context of the Western societies. Okay, we are talking about contemporary trends in marriage and family in the West. Anthony Giddens. Giddens has written on the transformation of intimacy. On the transformation of intimacy. See, the basis of sexual intimacy and marriage has changed with time. Marriage entails sexual intimacy, right? It's a very intimate relationship. But the basis of this sexual intimacy and marriage has changed with time. How it has changed, let us try to appreciate. In pre-industrial societies, what was the basis of, or what were the reasons for marriage? Or in other words, simply, why did people get married? What were the considerations? Yes? Dowry, or okay, yes, the economic aspect. Sorry? Pre-industrial, okay. Simply it was based on pragmatic considerations, practical considerations, such as human beings have the sex need which needs to be fulfilled. So everybody needs a sex partner. Marriage provides a sex partner, right? There would be pragmatic considerations, for instance, for men who will cook for them after their mothers have left. मेरे लिए खाना कौन बनाएगा, रोटी कौन पोएगा माँ के बाद, उसके लिए मुझे एक लुगाई चाहिए. And likewise for women who would provide them security, safety after their fathers have passed away. ठीक है? So based on these considerations, it was also kind of there was a religious dimension. It was a religious obligation to get married. It was one's religious duty to get married. All right? ठीक है? Now with industrialization, friends, or with the advent of modernity, the basis of marriage and sexual intimacy underwent a transformation. It changed, and changed significantly. A new basis emerged for sexual intimacy and marriage and became widely popular in the society. And this new basis for sexual intimacy and marriage was, or rather is, क्या? अरे भाई, why will you guys get married? Sorry? For what? Companionship? वो तो डॉग भी दे देता है, भाई भी दे देता है. क्या चाहिए तुम्हें? ये तो तुमने प्री इंडस्ट्रियल बात कर दी कि बच्चों के लिए शादी करोगे. ठीक है? यू बिलोंग टू दैट एरा. हाँ? लव. कैसा लव? मां का प्यार. Romantic love. Romantic love became the new basis of intimacy and marriage. What is this romantic love, friends? क्या होता है प्यार? क्या आपने कभी किसी से प्यार किया है? How many of you fallen in love? Raise your hands. Why is this side so, loveless? Dare I say? ठीक है. So, you have fallen in love. What do you understand by love? What does it mean? प्यार दोस्ती है. कौन बोला है? आप बोले. तो दोस्तों आपका वो भी है. Is he your lover? Huh? What is love? Really? I don't want for God's sake, academic or sociological definition, but a generic understanding. Wanting to see that person happy. Huh? That's so lovely of him to say. You know? Oh, a collective awe from our side for that. और बताइए ना, tell me more about love. Understanding the silence of a person. Huh? Brother? Tell me. shared memories and problem solving. You make it sound so clinical. You know? हाँ. Love is बावलापन. हाँ? Love is crazy. Reason चले आता है. बेटी. So to love to like the flaws of a person. Brother, yes, you had raised your hand. Consider her everything. ठीक है. Oh, ठीक है. That is, now please appreciate this concept of romantic love. You know, there's this movie, Tom Hanks movie, very nice movie, and Meg Ryan, I think, in which they had a dialogue on love, which stuck with me. You know, I watched this movie in childhood. She said that, you know, love is something like, you know, it's like a Santa Claus for adults. Okay? You know it doesn't exist, but you want to believe in it. So you do. It's like something imaginary, which you want to believe in. Okay. What Giddens says, friends, that with industrialization and the rise of modern society, this notion of romantic love as the new basis, the primary basis for intimacy and marriage emerged. Romantic love क्या होता है? You have this concept of a soulmate. So it is considered that one's purpose in life, an important purpose in the person's life, is to identify and then bond with their soulmate. Yes or no? Then you also had this notion, these, you know, portrayals or depictions of the perfect man and the perfect woman. How's the perfect man, guys? Girls? How's the perfect man? काफी धक्के खाके हम इस नतीजे पे पहुंचे हैं. The perfect man doesn't exist. How is this perfect man? He is tall, dark and handsome, that cliched thing. ठीक है, chivalrous. दरवाजे जरूर खोलते हैं, I don't know why. दरवाजे बहुत खोलते हैं these perfect men. Yes. क्या है? I didn't understand. What did he say? अच्छा सचिन में क्या? अच्छा नहीं. Let's not get into it. And the perfect woman. The perfect woman. How is she? Guys, how is the perfect woman? She is beautiful. She is a virgin, very importantly. Virgin, beautiful, and she is delicate. You know, needing to be saved. Are you with me? So perfect man was this, literally the knight in the shining armor, and the woman was this damsel in distress, waiting to be rescued. And this notion of romantic love, with its stereotypical portrayals of the perfect man and the perfect woman, after industrialization or in modern society, was popularized. How? Through literature. तब टीवी शीवी नहीं होता था. Through literature, romantic novels, fiction writing, etc. They popularized these notions of romantic love. धन्यवाद भैया. इंडिया में it's not so much literature. India में this notion has been popularized by popular cinema. है ना? Shahrukh Khan is that perfect man. ठीक है? With his extended arms. कि सारी दुनिया उसमें समा जाए. है ना? और वो सब कुछ संभाल लेगा. Kind of a thing. Are you with me? But in the West, in the aftermath of industrialization, it was popular fictional literature which spread this notion of romantic love, and that became the new popular basis for sexual intimacy and marriage. Until this date, it holds sway over the minds of people. Okay, and large segments of the population in the West also. ठीक है, आप सबको भी किसकी तलाश है? कौन सी शादी करोगे, अरेंज मैरिज या लव मैरिज? लव मैरिज, लव हो ना हो, लव मैरिज जरूर करेंगे. हाँ. There was a survey in the US in 2013 or 2013 survey by Pew Research. More than 80%, more than 80% Americans identified love as a very important reason to get married. ठीक है? Now, what is happening more recent times, in contemporary times, a new basis of sexual intimacy and marriage has arisen. Okay, or it is rising. It is what Giddens calls plastic sexuality. In contemporary science, in contemporary times, we see the rise of plastic sexuality. प्लास्टिक सेक्सुअलिटी. ठीक है, ये क्या चीज है, ये क्या बला है? लेट अस ट्राई टू अप्रिशिएट. What is the nature of plastic? What do you know, what we seem to suggest by plastic sexuality? Sorry? Raise your hands and speak, please. Beti? I can't connect non-biodegradable to intimacy and sex. Deformed and reformed. Bilkul. Plastic is not fragile. Why will you call it fragile? Huh? ठीक है, engineer Baba. Moldable, absolutely. So plastic has that flexibility, moldability about it. Are you with me? So plastic sexuality means that people have increasing choice and flexibility regarding their intimate sexual relationships. One expression of this flexibility and choice is that many people nowadays have multiple sexual partners. Multiple sexual partners. Now, please appreciate, marriage in the pre-industrial era used to last how long? It was a lifetime arrangement. In any traditional pre-modern society, it is kind of a lifelong thing. What about the marriage in the modern era based on romantic love? It lasts till how long? Huh? Sorry? Last? Till love last क्या होता है? अरे भैया, सच्चा प्यार जीवन में एक ही बार होता है. यस और नो? और ये दो जिस्मों का नहीं, दो आत्माओं का मिलन होता है. सोलमेट. भूल गए आप? So these marriages based on romantic love were also meant to last for the whole lifetime. But in contemporary times, relations based on plastic sexuality last how long? 2 दिन, 2 घंटे, 2 महीने, 2 साल, 20 साल. Matlab, till as long as both the persons in the relationship feel they are benefiting from it. It need not be a lifelong relationship. Please appreciate. For example, nowadays you have one night stands. You have friends with benefits. You have what are termed as open relationships. All these bablapans, yes or no, are a product of this era of plastic sexuality. Now, how this thing has come about, this change in sexual intimacy amongst people, because of, very importantly, the development of technology. Which technology? अरे phone नहीं, contraceptive technology. Contraceptive technology. Basically, thanks to development of contraceptives, sex and reproduction have been separated. Bluntly, before the development of contraceptives, if you had sex with a person, there was a good chance it might result in pregnancy and childbirth. And that would entail a long-term commitment. Because, you've given birth to a child and then you have to grow, raise that child and so on and so forth. But now, with the advances in contraceptive technologies like eye pills and condoms, etc., the sexual act and reproduction have been decoupled. You can now very safely, with a fair degree of certainty, you can have sex without worrying about pregnancy and childbirth. Yes or no? So this has resulted, basically freed people, particularly women. It has given them sexual freedom. So marriages, sexual intimacy does not last throughout the lifetime now, but only till as long as it is seen as beneficial by both the persons involved. ठीक? Very interestingly, Giddens calls this current phase of plastic sexuality, he calls it pure love. Pure love. In the current phase of plastic sexuality, we witness the rise of pure love. Simply, if you are in a relationship nowadays, it is not because you are compelled by the situation, because you are stuck with a child together. Yes or no? You stay with the person now because now you truly love him or her. यही है सच्चा प्यार. ठीक है? ठीक? So that is one aspect in how marriage and intimacy has changed. Another trend that we see in the realm of marriage and family in contemporary times is late marriages. Simply, people are getting... No, Giddens is done. Next point. Trend of late marriages. People are getting married at a later age than earlier. बड़ी उम्र में शादी कर रहे हैं. पहले छोटी उम्र में होती थी, उम्र बढ़ती गई, अब काफी बड़ी उम्र में शादी कर रहे हैं. What do you consider a late age? Please write down. According to the US Census Bureau data, 2018, the average age of first marriage in USA, कई शादियां करते हैं इसलिए फर्स्ट मैरिज की बोल रहे हैं. एवरेज एज ऑफ फर्स्ट मैरिज इन द यूएसए हैज इंक्रीज्ड टू कितना? तुक्का मारो. Say for men, what age would you expect? Average age at which men are getting married? 38. It has increased to 30 years for men, 30 years for men, and 28 years for women. ठीक? Possibly the same age at which UPSC aspirants get married. ठीक है? Harsh, है ना? Now, this trend of late marriages, that when people are getting married later in life, it has important social implications. What are the implications of people getting married at a late age? क्या फर्क पड़ेगा समाज को इससे? One obvious impact will be on what will be its impact on the fertility rate? It will decrease, absolutely. Simply, if people are getting married late, they will have a lesser fertility window available. If somebody, say a woman gets married at 18 years of age, then she has many reproductive years ahead of her, more likely to birth more number of children than, say, when she gets married at 28 years of age. ठीक? So it results in a decline in the fertility rate. Also appreciate, friends, when the age of marriage increases to as high as 28 or 30 years, sexual maturation sets in at about what? Teenage years, puberty years, 13, 14 years, right? So now you will enter the marital union after 15 years of your sexual maturation. So what does it imply? Premarital sex becomes more common, acceptable also, institutionalized even. Society finds some or establishes certain mechanisms so that the sex need can be satisfied during that long period of 1.5 decades. Yes or no? तो क्या तरीका है? What mechanism has the society provided? Dating. ठीक है? जो डेटिंग का सारा सिस्टम है. Also appreciate the age of the first sexual intercourse has declined. Age of first sexual intercourse. Now that premarital sex has become common and acceptable, so the age at which people are having their first sexual intercourse has also declined. US में. So what happened? So at which age? What would be the age of the first sexual intercourse? And we are talking intercourse here, mind you. Not just peck on the cheek. ठीक है? Yes, it has declined. Please write down the age of the first sexual intercourse in the US has reduced to about 16 to 18 years. 16 to 18 years. ठीक है? Another, so that's about late marriages. Another trend, development that we see is live-in relationships. Live-in relationships. Live-in relationships means what? Simply that people start living together under the same roof without formally, socially, legally getting married to each other. Right? In academic literature, we refer to it as unmarried cohabitation. Unmarried cohabitation matlab to live together. When you're living together without getting married, that's unmarried cohabitation. ठीक? Is it happening in our society? Indian society? Live-in relationships. How many of you personally know people who are in live-in relationships? Not dost ka dost, but dosts. God, yeah. ये बीच वाले पता नहीं ज़्यादा वो है. But you do personally know of people who are in live-in relationships. So, as live-in relationships become more common, please note down, in the US, in 2016, about 7% of America's adult population, 7% of America's adult population were in live-in relationships. ठीक? So what are the social ramifications, friends, of this growing trend of live-in relationships? क्या होगा इससे समाज पे? Why would you say that? She's saying increase in crimes.
When there is no legal bond, I think sometimes people tend to fall apart. When they are falling apart, it will result in kind of sticking, like one person sticking more to the other one, and they might repel.
Okay.
So which it might.
Okay. What happens to it? Is diluted. Yes. Gaslighting. Can you explain what it means? Yes. ठीक है. Brother. Okay. Yes. So it's like people enter into live-in relationships because they shirk family obligations, huh? Brother? Absolutely. Very importantly, legal obscurity. Right? So there are significant social ramifications. Beti? Absolutely. Absolutely. Brother?
In most of the cases, in case of the female partner, she might more dependent on that.
बिल्कुल. So, brother? ऑनर किलिंग्स एज अ रिएक्शन. ठीक है, वेस्ट में थोड़ा कम फंडा होता है ऑनर किलिंग्स वगैरह का. इफ यू आर टॉकिंग इन द वेस्टर्न कॉन्टेक्स्ट, यस, इन इंडिया इट माइट रिजल्ट इन दैट. बेटी? सॉरी? हाउ इज दैट एडवर्सली अफेक्ट? Contraceptive usage? Not necessarily. Why should contraceptive usage lead to health complications? Yeah? Depends on the nature of contraception being employed. And okay, Okay. Divorce क्या? शादी नहीं कर रहे? Separation. Okay. हाँ, so there are important, guys, there are important ramifications for the society. Decline in domestic violence. On the contrary, they are also susceptible to domestic abuse, live-in partners. So there are important social ramifications of the growing trend of live-in relationships. What does it do to the fertility rate? Increase. Arey bhai, if a man and woman are living together, there is a good chance of sexual intimacy. Okay? So it might result in reproduction. So it will affect the fertility rate. There are chances of domestic violence and abuse. As one of you very rightly pointed out, it will have, the legal system needs to catch up to these changing trends of marriage and relationships. Yes or no? For example, domestic violence laws should also cover live-in partners. What should be, say, rights of inheritance, etc., of live-in partners? So many issues arise. Issues of emotional dependence and financial dependence of live-in partners. ठीक है? Another trend, may I? Another trend is increase in the number of single person households. Single person households. Increasing trend of single person households. तो मेरे घर में कौन कौन है? मैं ही हूं. अरे कोई मदर वदर नहीं, सिंगल पर्सन. ठीक, मैं ही हूं, सब माता पिता मेरा सब कुछ. The number of single person households in the US has increased from 12% in 1961 to 29% by 2010. Here are the figures. ठीक? From 12% to 29% between 1961 and 2010. Lot of people are living alone, right? And this has important ramifications for the society at large, as follows. What will be its social consequences? What will be the impact on the fertility rate? जाहिर है डिक्लाइन. अकेला इंसान तो कैसे ही बच्चा पैदा करेगा. So it results in a decline in the fertility rate. Understand fertility rate roughly as the number of children per woman, okay, being born per woman. For now, understand it roughly as the number of children born per woman, right? So that will be reduced. Also, friends, very importantly, it provisions for greater mobility of the labor force. Simply, if a person is married and has children, say, he gets an opportunity to move to a newer city for better job prospects, he will have to take into account 10 considerations. The wife's job, her career path, children's school, so many things. But if you are chada, yeah, if you're like single, yes or no? तो क्या है? झोला उठा के चल देंगे कहीं. Yes or no? Clear? It also provisions for greater flexibility in spending habits. Greater flexibility in spending. Again, of course, if one is encumbered with family obligations, right? Before spending a penny, you will have 10 other considerations, your children's careers and provisioning for, say, sickness of all family members and so on and so forth, right? But if you are single, then you can have greater flexibility in terms of your spending habits. You can, for example, be more impulsive in your purchases. Yes or no? Also appreciate, friends, that this large number of people who are living by themselves, they do not have a companion or a family member to look after them. Say, in old age, in sickness. Are you with me? So, a whole industry, a personal care industry has arisen, worth billions of dollars, targeting these single person households. Are you with me? Nurses provide करेंगे, ये provide करेंगे, वो the works. क्यों इन लोगों के पास खर्चते टाइम इनको ज्यादा सोचना नहीं पड़ता? Yes or no? क्योंकि बाकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज नहीं है. जॉब में ज्यादा तरक्की कर सकते हैं क्योंकि कहीं भी जा सकते हैं. And they lack those things in terms of what a family provides. ठीक है? So it has several. It also, of course, results in a reduced average household size. That is but obvious. Say if in a typical household there are 3 or 4 persons, an adult couple and 1 or 2 dependent children. In these single person households there is only one guy. So the average household size is obviously reduced. Yes or no? And boost to the personal care industry which we just spoke of. Right? Now let us try to appreciate what are the contemporary trends as regards reproductive behavior. A lot of new things happening pertaining to reproduction. One, of course, is a decline in the fertility rate. Due to various factors, single person households हो रहे हैं, शादियां लेट हो रही हैं. Yes or no? Contraceptives का usage बढ़ रहा है. So much so that in many of the Western societies, they have a declining population or a shrinking population. The average family size is also reduced. ठीक है? Another important trend is that an increase in the age of having the first child. Increase in the age of having the first child. औरतें जो पहला बच्चा जाम रही हैं, हायर एज पे जाम रही हैं. ठीक? Also, increasing incidence of childlessness. Increasing incidence of childlessness. Do you see this phenomena around you also? Increasing incidence of childlessness. Yes or no? How many of you personally know couples who have had problems conceiving or are having problems conceiving? Raise your hands. ठीक है. Why? Why are so many people having a problem conceiving? Huh? What's the issue? It is such a natural, basic kind of a biological function. Huh? It could be either kinds. It could be either. But why are many people nowadays childless or having problems conceiving? Beti? Sorry? Why? Why are women experiencing problems in the menstrual cycle? Or they should have always been there. दादी माँ के ज़माने में and परदादी माँ के ज़माने में. बेटी? Absolutely. So one is, the later you get married, the shorter biological window, as it were, you would have to reproduce. Absolutely. So lifestyle issues are there. Kind of foods that we are consuming, packaged foods, intoxicants. Milk also affects adversely, which I was not aware. So lifestyle issues are there. Late marriages is an important reason. So people are, you are suggesting, opting to not have children because of high cost of living. ठीक है. Simply children are expensive. Right? So that's why a lot of people are opting, choosing not to have them. Yes? Beti? Yes. So we call this phenomena DINK. Double income, no kids. DINK. Double income, no kids. Simply material aspirations have risen greatly. Right? To fulfill those, both the man and the woman in the relationship are working. By the time they come back in night, they have neither the time, nor the energy, nor the inclination to engage in sex and reproduction. ठीक है? और बताइए. हाँ, some sort of a live-in relationship or open relationship and all that. अच्छा, रेंट पे. वाओ यार, दुनिया कहाँ से कहाँ पहुंच गई. हाँ, गर्लफ्रेंड एंड बॉयफ्रेंड ऑन रेंट. फैमिली ऑल्सो यू गेट ऑन रेंट, लाइक चाचा. हाँ, ये मेरी बुआ है, 10,000 रुपए पर डे. ठीक है. So increasing commercialization. Yes, brother. Yes, absolutely. So you have, long distance relationships. A lot of these reasons. About 15%, 15% of American women, 15% of American women in the age of 40 to 44 years, 40 से 44 साल की अमरीकी महिलाएं have never birthed any children. Have never birthed any children. और अब तो क्या ही करेंगी after 40-44 age. ठीक है, मतलब that age bracket when you have exhausted, as it were, the biological window. Also, friends, another development in the realm of or related to reproduction is the increasing intervention of technology in the act of reproduction. Reproduction is considered one of the most natural of acts. It makes man and woman like closest to nature. The whole act of reproduction, childbirthing, the sexual act, all of it is very animal-like or very basic, right? But what we see in contemporary times, there is increasing intervention of technology. In the reproductive process. For instance, contraceptive technologies. Yes or no? So, through contraceptive usage, people control or choose to have or not have babies, right? Technologies like C-section, cesarean births. You understand? C-section? पेट काट के बच्चे को निकालते हैं rather than through the vaginal cavity. That's a C-section birth. Technologies, artificial reproductive technologies like IVF and now surrogacy. ठीक है? So a lot of technological intervention in the act of reproduction. Another important trend is increasing births outside of marriage. Births outside marriage. Births outside of marriage, yeah. In the US, about 40%, I was startled, 40% of all births were by unmarried mothers. 40% of all births were by unmarried mothers. Bin byahi ma. Let us appreciate, moving on from reproduction, guys, moving beyond reproduction to other aspects of marriage and family life. One much neglected aspect, the elderly. What's happening to बूढ़ा लोग? बूढ़े बूढ़ियों के साथ क्या हो रहा है? हाँ, ओल्ड एज तो हो ही रही है, तभी वो बूढ़े कहलाए जा रहे हैं, बट उसके अलावा क्या हो रहा है उनके साथ परिवार में? रेज योर हैंड्स एंड स्पीक ब्रो. आइसोलेशन, ओके. इंटॉलरेंस, ओके. हिंदुत्व वाला इंटॉलरेंस नहीं. ओके, या बेटी? Old age homes, okay. Betty?
Bring them to a modern houses, the new houses, they feel alienated because they feel like they're not the part of the village or the community anymore.
See, in the West, let me give you a brief background info. In the West, the scenario was in the aftermath of industrialization, okay. I'm talking, say, till about the first half of the 20th century. What used to happen? There was the development of the nuclear family. So the system was, let me give you an example. Say there's a couple, Mr. and Mrs. A. Okay, at the age of 25, they have children B. They have a child named B. Okay, when the child B becomes 25 years, 25, he will flow out of the proverbial nest and establish his own home. So B will get married at the age of 25 to Mrs. B. So these guys, the Mr. and Mrs. A, who are now 50 years of age, they are living alone. Then these are two separate nuclear households, A's household and B's household. Then as age advances between Mr. and Mrs. A, one will tapko, right? One will die, and the other guy, the surviving elderly male or female, they would move back in with their now adult children. Are you with me? Say if Mrs. A is left after the demise of Mr. A, she is at about 70 years of age, she will move back in with B. Or if she has many children, B, C, D, E, then 3 महीने सबके घर पे, kind of an arrangement. ठीक है? But nowadays what is happening, that increasingly the elderly are staying alone. They are not moving in with their adult sons or daughters after the demise of the spouse. To give you a sense, in the US, in 1910, about 12% of widows above the age of 65 years were living alone. Where were the rest of the widows above 65 years of age? Living with their adult sons or daughters. ठीक? But today, as many as 70% of the widows above 65 years of age live alone. Okay? Why? Why aren't budiyas staying with their adult sons and daughters? क्यों? Simply because they are now less dependent on the support of their children, grown-up children. The dependence of the elderly has over their adult children has reduced. How is it reduced? Friends, they are relatively healthier today. So today's 65 years old are far healthier than 65 years old 50 years back. Health standards have improved. Health and nutrition standards. So they are healthier. They are also financially more secure. So they are more financially secure, health-wise they are better, and the state has widened its security net, social security net. Okay? So the state is there providing support to the elderly. So consequently the dependence on children has reduced. Clear? Let us now see how relationships within the family have changed. Intra-family relationships have also transformed. Intra-family, intra matlab within the family. Let us look at two key relationships. One is of course, the spousal relationship. So how is the man-woman relationship changed within the family? The husband-wife relationship? Quickly. Any inputs? How has the husband-wife relationship changed? Or has it not? Who is less dependent? The wife is less dependent. Yes? Formal. क्यों? Either using a wrong word, I don't know. Why should it be formal? It's such an intimate relationship still. And how do you judge that?
Nowadays couples sit, discuss, talk on things, but in previous life there was no
ठीक है, आई एम गेटिंग व्हाट यू सेइंग, बट यू फ्रेज्ड इट वेरी डिफिकल्टली. ठीक है, हाँ. Sorry? Or let us put it this way, that the very rigid division of tasks between the gender-based division of labor, that has reduced. है ना बेटी? More equal. Very rightly she has used the very right word. It's not become equal, but it's become relatively more equal than in the past. Right? In fact, it is said to be a more symmetrical relationship. Matlab, the power imbalance, the very rigid distinction between the woman's tasks and the man's tasks, that is now somewhat blurred. It is relatively a more symmetrical family. It's not a perfect symmetry, mind you, in terms of power, authority, or even roles and obligations, but relatively more equal than in the past. Okay? So there was a book titled The Symmetrical Family by भूल गया मैं, Young and Wilmot. Young and Wilmot. And I reiterate, it is not based on, there is not a situation of perfect equality, but relatively, compared to the family structure in the past, the roles are more symmetrical now. ठीक? Also, yes, it's the name of a book, The Symmetrical Family by Young and Wilmot. Also, how has the parent-child relationship changed? बताइए बिटिया. Less generation gap. Why would you say that? Freer communication you're suggesting across generations. Or beti?
Interdependence, since the children are leaving home at an earlier age, 19, so they are less dependent on their parents.
Children today are less dependent on parents. What kind of topics you think, like when you say that earlier which were not discussed?
For example, sir, if someone is feeling anxious about something,
Earlier children, if they felt anxious, they couldn't discuss with parents. But now they can. This movie, OMG 2, apparently is about sex education and a discourse, free-flowing discourse between parents and children. Have you guys seen it? Can I see it with my teenage daughter? Or not? पक्का ना? ठीक है. हाँ? ठीक है. Yeah. Brother? Yeah, you would raise your hand? Okay, no. Brother?
As nowadays the fertility rate has decreased, so there are less children. So parents are giving more care.
हाँ, पहले ऐसे 6-8 बच्चे होते थे तो कोई वैल्यू ही नहीं होती थी. अब एक आध होता है, उसी को हीरे मोती का मान के उसको करते रहते हैं. हाँ बेटी? हाँ बिल्कुल है ना. सो अर्लियर द डोमेन ऑफ द फैमिली वाज कंसिडर्ड द डोमेन ऑफ द प्राइवेट, बट नाउ विद इन द फैमिली people have this notion of privacy. How many of you have told your parents ki, give me space, or how dare you see my diary or my enter my room and touch my things, my phone? You had raised your hand, Betty? Forgot. Brother? Simplify it for us. Acha. So parents' obligations towards children are fewer. They are no more the teacher, the this or the that. Yes. बच्चों को प्यार बिगाड़ रहा है ना. यू स्पेयर द रॉड एंड यू स्पॉइल द चाइल्ड. हाँ, ठीक है. सो पॉइंट इज फ्रेंड्स दैट इन कंटेम्पररी टाइम्स द पेरेंट चाइल्ड रिलेशनशिप एज रिलेशनशिप्स इन द फैमिली इन जनरल आर बिकमिंग मोर democratized. More democratized. There is increasing, should I say, kind of a consultative approach to decision making within the family. Freer communication across generations. See, in the olden days, the adult male was the undisputed authority figure, decision maker. Say if he got a new job in a new city, yes or no, who would decide? He will decide. He is the man of the house. Yes or no? So he'll tell the woman कि चलो हम जा रहे हैं, कानपुर में अच्छी नौकरी मिल गई है, सामान और बच्चे पैक करो और चलो. Literally, right? But nowadays, if I get a job in another city, in the Western context, will it be that same approach? No. I'll talk to my son. Say, over dinner, ki John, Papa has got this new opportunity, right, which will be very good for his career. So I was thinking of shifting to another city. And I know it will take a lot on your part because you'll have to change school and make new friends, etc. But I was hoping that you'll be able to accommodate for Papa. Yes or no? And then John will express and thoda फैलेगा, thoda मैं मनाऊंगा, and तब जाके कुछ साम दाम दंड भेद यूज करके एक collaborative joint decision making, this thing. ठीक है, we take decisions as a family unit, right? Another important development is, and the last, is increase in divorce rates. Please appreciate divorce rates in the West are very high. In India, they are still very low. In the West, divorce rates are as high as 30% to 50%. Matlab every second or third marriage ends up in divorce. In India, in contrast, just to give you a sense of proportion, in India, it is still less than, within far less than 5%, 3-5%. Why? काहे? पागल हैं क्या ये लोग? शादियां क्यों तोड़ते रहते हैं? निभानी नहीं आती? Why is the divorce rate so high in the West? बेटी,
सेंस ऑफ इंडिविजुअलिटी, तो अगर सेम आइडियाज मैच नहीं होते सो वी दे टेंड टू फॉलो.
तो आइडियाज तो यहां भी नहीं मैच होते.
आई थिंक हियर पीपल हैव दिस मोर सोशल इंटीग्रेशन, मेबी दैट्स व्हाई दे आर
Brother, plastic sexuality. So because of contraceptive usage and marriage and reproduction and sex have been delinked. Brother, of kiski? Of women, absolutely. Absolutely, reduced social ostracization. Yes.
Perhaps in the West there is like less sacredness attached.
Very importantly, absolutely, in India still marriage is considered a very sacred kind of a union. There is a very important religious dimension to marriage. while the Western society has undergone secularization, religion has declined in importance in society in general, also affecting how marriage is viewed. So लिख लीजिए various such reasons for high divorce rates in the West. The social stigma associated with divorce has declined. India में still there's a lot of stigma associated with divorce. तो कोई डिवोर्सी अगर दिखते हैं तो क्या बोलते हैं लोग? हो, yes or no? Do we treat divorcees as regular persons, say married persons or young persons who are unmarried, or not? Have you known divorcees being treated differently than regular married folks in our society? How? Especially women, particularly women. How? How would they be treated differently? Characterless समझा जाता है, very bluntly put. Brother? Absolutely. 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 So, but the stigma associated with divorce in the West has significantly reduced. साफ बात है, the more divorce cases rise, it will become more commonplace, further reducing that stigma. And the more stigma is reduced, it will contribute to increase in divorce cases. Then, of course, a very important reason is the financial independence of women. दो पैसे कमाने लगती हैं तो you get the drift, right? So as women become less dependent on men, they assert their individuality, would be less willing to compromise in a bad or a failing marriage, right? In India, a lot of women continue to remain financially dependent on men. Bluntly, they have no escape or no way out of a bad marriage because they are not financially secure. Clear? So they are stuck in a bad marriage. But not so in the West, with increasing participation of women in the labor force outside the home. Clear? So I don't need a man to provide for me or my child. है ना? As Leach had suggested, क्या बोले थे Leach जी? The nuclear family is like an overloaded electrical circuit. Meaning what? Overburdened with expectations which can never be fulfilled. Resulting in conflicts, tensions, etc. culminating in divorce. As he rightly commented, the decline in the religious significance of marriage because of secularization, the wider trend of secularization in society. Simply religion is becoming less important. So even marriage, which earlier had a lot of religious significance, now it is viewed in secular terms. Yeah? भारत में आज के दिन भी शादी निभाना मेरा धर्म है. मैं अग्नि को साक्षी मान के शादी करता हूं या करती हूं. Yes or no? So it is my religious duty or obligation to remain in the or to respect the sacred marital bond. But not so anymore in the West, with declining influence of religion in society. Are you with me? Also, friends, changes have been brought about in the laws. The legal framework governing divorce has been eased, making it easier quicker to obtain divorce. Earlier, obtaining divorce was a more cumbersome process. Now it can be obtained relatively more easily. ठीक? Now, what are the social implications of having a high divorce rate? Very quick. 2 मिनट में हो जाएंगे, आपको पता भी नहीं लगेगा. Sorry? What are the social implications of such high divorce rates? One, of course, is rise in the number of single parent households. Simply after the couple separates, the child would live with one parent and the other guy would live by himself. Typically, the child lives with the mother. So a lot of mother-child units have come up with increasing divorce rates. Also, a rise in step families. Say that woman with her children from a previous marriage, she gets married again. Then the new guy in her life, he'll be a stepfather to her children from the previous marriage. Or if the man gets married again to a new woman, then she'll be a stepmother to his children from the previous marriage. And please appreciate that the relationship dynamics in a step family are qualitatively different from those in a biological family unit, if I may call it that. For example, in a biological family unit, it would be rare to have a biological parent sexually abuse the child. But is it possible in case of step families? Yes. So child abuse is far more likely in step families. The relationship between step siblings is also far more complicated. Are you with me? Say a man with a daughter from a previous marriage and a woman with a son from another marriage. If they start living together, what will be the dynamics between this step brother and step sister? As many as 50%, 50, of children below 13 years of age in America live in step families, friends. Live in step families. Sorry? 50% children below 13 years of age in US live in step families. Now, this incidence of high divorce rates, what does it say about societal attitudes towards marriage? High divorce rates suggest what? About how the society views the institution of marriage. Disposable and casual. According to Parsons, high divorce rates indicate kya? The high value that American society associates with marriage and family. High value that's associated with marriage and family in American society. Simply they value marriage highly. They expect a lot from marriage. That is why they are unwilling to compromise in a bad marriage or dissatisfying marriage. In contrast, in societies like ours, with low divorce rates, people spend their entire lives in empty shell marriages, खोखली marriages. Yes or no? Because we have very low expectations from marriage. नहीं खुश हुए क्या हो गया, जी लेंगे. जीवन में शादी सब कुछ नहीं है हमारे लिए. ठीक है? And this high value that American society places on marriage is also corroborated by the high incidence of remarriage. तो शादी करते जाते हैं जब तक खुशी नहीं प्राप्त होती है. ठीक है? तो वो ज्यादा शादी के दीवाने हैं कंपेयर टू. अकॉर्डिंग टू प्यू रिसर्च, प्यू, हाँ बस हो गया. You make me feel like a jallad. According to Pew Research, it's a very reputed research organization. %20 of all marriages in the US are a remarriage or were a remarriage for one of the spouses. For one of the spouses. 20% marriages were a remarriage for one of the spouses. Another 20% of all marriages were remarriage for both spouses. ठीक? तो लगभग 40% of all marriages are remarriages. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद.